you as part of the Chairshot Radio Network here on thechairshot.com, where we remind you to always use your head. Thank you so much if you're listening live. Excited to have you here. The recording here on Monday. Welcome in there as well. Feel free to jump in and chat with us as we go along if you're listening live. If you're not, well, tough. Listen live. Listen live. Tony puts it up. It's on the Attitude of Aggression site. It's right there on the YouTube channel. Just look up attitudeofaggression.com. You can find us. Listen along. You can get mad at my takes. You can agree with me when we talk about how Kratos was robbed. We can also have a good laugh because if you're watching live, vacation has started. That's right. Vacation has started because Patrick O'Dowd is joined by 3 of the 4 members of the bandwagon. I am joined by the lawyer himself, my partner in crime, the OG of OGs, David Ungar. I am joined by the executive vice president of Wednesday evening programming, Mr. Saturday Night, golf enthusiast, master and commander of all he surveys in the chair shot, Mr. PC Tunney.
A lot of titles there, Tony.
I'm kind of a first mate. We got a captain.
And well, I'm just adding titles because I don't have a 4th. Like I'm looking for him. It's not off screen. We have no Ray Cash today because the tournament is over, which means that Ray is on vacation. No, Ray will be back. He's out this week. He did send his regrets, and I felt it was, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. So
we knew it was coming.
It's okay.
We knew that it was coming.
I just got done watching an episode of Shrinking where the main character's dad just keeps letting him down, and he did it again. Like the episode let him down, and that was that. It was a rough go. So anyway, Ray, look forward to seeing you next week. We know you'll be back there. We have quite a show today. We are going to review not 1 but 2 series on this show today. We are going to talk about Invincible Season 4, Episode 4, which was a lot of time in hell, literally. We are going to talk Episode 1 of Season 2, kind of-ish. I don't quite know how it all works together, of Daredevil, Born Again. And then the usual cadre of things that we do, right? Like we're going to have some trailers to talk about. We got some news around the nerdosphere. Talk about what you're watching. And then we'll get you out of here to whatever you want to do with the rest of your day if you're listening live. Or if you're not listening live, whatever it is. However you choose to spend your time, we're just glad you're spending it with us right now. Dave, I missed you in the 5 minutes between shows.
Yes, it was a long 5 minutes. Yeah, good to be back. Got some really cool stuff to talk about here today. A little bit of controversy that we'll get into. Well, a little more than one piece of controversy we'll get into.
Controversy? We got controversy?
Just a little bit.
No, I don't think we have controversy. I think it is an invented controversy if it's the one I'm thinking you're going to talk about. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Tony, man, how are you doing? Heard you did a very special guest stint on the Four Corners podcast. That must have been exciting for you.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Those guys are kind of assholes though, but
they can be. It's rough. It's a tough show.
Oh, it's you guys.
Tough crowd.
No,
yeah.
You guys are great. I love you guys. This is good. I was thinking of a different show. My bad.
You're thinking of a different asshole.
Make sure you listen tomorrow or go back and watch it. It's up already on Attitude of Aggression's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
The other Patrick O'Dowd on the Four Corners podcast. That was a great show, fun time. I didn't change my background back. I kept that for the sports. I am very euphoric in a great place today as my beloved Fighting Illini made the Final Four. I was hoping to share that joy with Ray, but again, vacation. So enjoy vacation mode, Ray. We could have commiserated, but no.
Let's just be clear. It's a vacation from the show. The rest of his duties have superseded anything he's ever been doing before. So
As
it's not
a
much of a
side.
vacation. It's not much of a vacation.
And Ray joined us for Unidentified History the other day and got a very, I think, Tuddy, he got a very interesting education on what that show's really all about, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
I commented on that show.
I
by the way.
saw
That
you
reminds
threaten
me,
legal
I
action.
have a bone to pick with you dropping, like, this is the trailer dropping show, sir, and you're just throwing trailers out there. What?
I did not think you would want...
Stealing from what we
You are-
built.
You are
We
not Steve
built-
Allen, sir. You are not Steve Allen.
I just didn't see you
We
wanting
had
to cover
found
the
his
S... I don't think you wanted to cover the S4
cracks
trailer on
in
here.
the foundation of the bandwagon as there were and it's funny, I literally stumbled upon the stream sitting on the bus ride back from Washington D.C. Was in Washington D.C. this week, which
Probably
was
the wrong city to be watching that in.
first we were not in the city by the time I stumbled across the stream. It was, my son's 8th grade field trip was there for the whole week, basically Monday to Friday morning. A lot of long, tiring days. 14-year-olds being 14-year-olds. I joked with a couple of the teachers. I now understand why school lets out at around 2:30, because they're like done. Like the 14-year-olds are done by like 4:30, and then the rage begins. Then the insanity begins, and you can't control it, fellas. You just can't corral it. You can't control it. It's insane.
Hey, sometimes Oliver just wants to play his video game, okay?
That's right.
It was like fucking Thunderdome, man. You have no idea.
Oh, I have
It's
a
crazy. It's crazy. And then I was also a little resentful. So, I was chaperone. They've got all these chaperones, and they broke the students up, and you had your group, and like every other chaperone group had like 2 kids. I had 5.
Was your son in your group at least?
My son was in a group, and it was like
him
a
and
group
his
of,
buddies.
basically.
So they talked the teachers into letting you have 5 kids, basically.
And I was like, who hates me so much? Because I am 47 years old. That was 33 years ago. I have forgotten how big of a dick 14-year-olds can be. Because my God, we're just mean to each other. It's not horribly mean.
They're not individually not so much, but collectively.
Right.
Oh boy.
Man, and it's so funny because I remember being a kid, and I remember, you'd bust your buddy's balls, you'd give them a hard time, but I forgot about what happens when one of them breaks. Like they broke one, and then they're like rooming together, and it's like, you guys got to figure this shit out because I don't got anywhere to put you. But it was a good experience. I think the kids had a good time. Saw some great stuff.
It's great. It's my hometown, so it's a great city.
Genuinely would like to go back and do more of a, like what I would do, like as a tourist, as opposed to just kind of being under a schedule. And
can I be your chaperone?
Like this to this to this. I still got to get to California. You can be my chaperone in California.
That too. So that too.
We got things to do. Still working on that. I don't know where the traction is there, but we'll see. All right. Enough of that. Enough of the preamble. Let's get ourselves to a trailer park, a smaller trailer park this week than what we've been doing in previous weeks. Just felt like it was time to lighten the load. But all 3 trailers were contributed by different members of the bandwagon this week. And we're going to start with the one that was contributed by our good friend, PC Tunney. This is a special documentary that's going to be airing, I do believe, on NBC in conjunction with the Masters. And it's called Photographer 24. And it is chronicling the 24th photographer in the Masters photography pool. Just so happens to be one Ken Griffey Jr. And one had no idea this was something he was doing. That photography was something that he was doing. I remember that Randy Johnson, the pitcher, famously does photography as well professionally and is very, very good at it. And so to see this documentary where they're very candid about who Ken Griffey Jr. is, but also that despite being who he is, he's a very talented photographer. He's earned this place, but that doesn't mean we're going to give him preferential treatment or that he's going to get any of the photos he takes during the Masters shared or posted anywhere. And so this is chronicling his journey with the photographer pool at the Masters. And I thought it was really an interesting one, had no idea. And two, just looks like a fascinating watch. And Tony, you shared the trailer, so I'm going to go to you first to comment on it. And you're a big golf guy. Everybody knows this. We talked about this. You literally were just on Four Corners to talk about golf with us. What pulled you to this trailer other than just, you saw it was the Masters?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Randy Johnson. What an advantage he has over photographers. He's got the highest sight line. I think the coolest thing was you've seen kind of one of the people that were in charge kind of critiquing and kind of giving him constructive criticism, and Ken was just, absolutely agreeing and loving it. And as a professional athlete, you embrace the struggle. He embraces the struggle. Like, these guys are all unbelievably talented, but if you think that's why they're professionals, it's because they work harder than anybody on top of having more talent than you. And I don't think Ken Griffey Jr. would have wanted it any other way than to start at the bottom and work his way into becoming something that he earns. What a beautiful place to capture, by the way. One of the great reasons to tune in is just to see this unbelievable piece of property in Augusta, Georgia. So it's a really cool thing for golfers. It's probably a really cool thing for sports fans in general. But man, if you love the outdoors and just great, epic naturescapes, this is one of the world's great properties.
Yeah, I'm like you, Pat. I didn't realize Ken Griffey Jr. was doing all this sort of stuff. So it was really kind of cool to see what he's transitioned into and him trying to earn his keep and not just, ride off of the laurels of the Ken Griffey Jr. name and kind of establish himself as a legit photographer. But like Tony's saying, you couldn't ask for a better backdrop than Augusta to, really kind of cut your teeth. And I mean, Augusta is the kind of place where all the opportunities for great photography are there. And either you're going to rise to the occasion or it's going to expose your flaws. And I think that this documentary is kind of a lot about that, you're going to be able to see either he's really got photographic skills or he doesn't. And it looks very interesting to see how this whole thing plays out and whether he actually does succeed in this latest endeavor.
Unrelated but related question. Has there been any person in human history who better wears a baseball cap backwards than Ken Griffey Jr.? It's just natural. I still have an indelible memory of him in the home run derby, hat on backwards, hitting bombs. It just, that is one of my favorite images of a person. I can't think of anybody who pulls it off better. And he, like, how old is Ken Griffey Jr. now? What, in his 50s, 60s, 50s?
He's late. I don't know. He's got to be. Well, so the 96 was he was like just a kid, like 20.
Well, that's the thing. He's always been the kid.
He's 50.
And he's still the kid at 56. Is that what you said?
Yep.
Still the kid at 56. Hat flipped on backwards. Just looks like he belongs. So awesome.
Still one of the greatest endings to a baseball game ever was that where they beat the Yankees for the ALDS title.
I just remember that time he robbed a home run from the Minnesota Twins after. Oh wait, that guy's been arrested now. We can't talk about that movie. Never mind. Little Big League. Anybody? Anybody remember Little Big League? They played the Seattle Mariners for a right to get to the playoffs, and the main character nearly hits a home run off of Randy Johnson, but it's robbed by Ken Griffey Jr. Anyhow, underrated kid playing professional sports movie from the 90s, which was a big genre, folks. For those of you who don't know, we went through this phase in the late 90s where we put children in professional sporting events, and they would always be like superstars. or like in this case, it was the story of a kid. Like it was a knockoff of a different movie because everybody, I think a lot of people remember Rookie of the Year, right? With
Yeah.
Henry Rowe-Gardner,
Pitcher's got a big butt.
right?
Yeah.
Versus Little Big League, which was child managing the Minnesota Twins. There was, oh God, Like Mike. Do you remember Like Mike? Where,
Yeah.
that was a little bit later. But kids playing professional sports or being involved in professional Angels in the outfield, all
Little
of
Giants.
those. Like, well, that was Pee Wee football. Those
Yeah.
they were not playing professional, but everybody knows how to run the annexation of Puerto Rico.
That's right.
Like, and all of that is to say, King Griffey Jr. robbed a home run, kept the Minnesota Twins from making the playoffs, and then he walked off all cocky. It's great. Anyway, let's move on. This next one was shared by the departed, or was it? It was Ray. Ray shared it first. Then Patrick O'Dowd pulled what we now need to call a DJ, because DJ, he has become the master of the shame post in the Bandwagon Nerds chat.
He doesn't care though. That's the problem, you know.
I don't care. I'm gonna
better when you
call
did it-
that old.
Hey, because Ray would get really
dwarf.
mad.
He would. He'd get really upset. That was. But in fairness, guys, I did it to everybody. Ray just did it the most. I did it to. I've called myself out. I've called Dave out. I've called Tunney out. But anyway,
Ray's the biggest offender. So I mean,
he was
let's
the biggest
let's be
offender.
real.
But hey, I will say this: his self-imposed. He made that self-imposed exile of like, I'm
Yes.
never posting trailers again.
And then he tells me he's got to violate it because now he's verified. I'm like, wow, that's ironic.
For like 3 weeks though, he would just post in the chat and he'd be like, "Hey, a new Man on Fire trailer just came out. Somebody should post it."
Yeah.
And it was like, you just
Yeah,
Why don't
you
you
can post
why don't
it,
you
Ray.
post it?
You can post it, Ray.
Now Ray is out. I love when Ray is excited about shows and what's going on though. By the way, because that energy is infectious. He has been posting so much news. And he just so much stuff that I just can't fit it all into a single rundown. But he shared this interesting sci-fi horror flick. I don't know if horror is the right word for it necessarily. I can't quite figure it out. It stars Anne Hathaway and who's the male lead?
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor. That's right. I was dangerously close to saying like Paul Rudd or something, and I knew that wasn't right. And their family in this film called The End of Oak Street, where it appears that this piece of a neighborhood has somehow been transported somewhere. Maybe the past? Looks like there's dinosaurs running around or people are in danger. But it's a big mystery, and it's a bad robot picture, which means J.J. Abrams is involved, which I'm gonna do this real quick, and then you guys can poo-poo me if you like. I don't trust J.J. Abrams because he always overpromises and underdelivers. Like, he hasn't done something I've liked since Alias. And he fucked up Star Wars. I'm just going to say it.
Well,
The Last Jedi is beckoning.
the way he messed up one of the movies. You and
Or
I.
not The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, my bad.
Yeah,
Last Jedi rocked.
You and I have a different opinion on Force Awakens, but I don't know if you can say that he ruined that one. But
No,
Rise of Skywalker,
he just remade A New Hope and was like, look, I'm a Star Wars fan like you.
I mean, Rise of Skywalker is problematic. Yes, that's true.
But this trailer sets up an interesting mystery, right, Dave? Like this not like we really don't know anything, and this is very much the J.J. Abrams "what's in the box" theory. If you've ever seen his famous TED Talk, where he talks about keeping an audience intrigued by letting them know there is a box with the answer, and it's about how do you open the box to find the answer. He is showing everybody the box, but there is no answer in this trailer. Like, it is tough to get any level of orientation as to what's happening in this first one.
And whatever you think about his movies. Oh, sorry, Tony, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Now, I was going to say, whatever you think about J.J. Abrams' movies, he's very good at that. The trailers he usually gets right, and it's just the concept of revealing just enough to get you interested, but not revealing too much. And he's always been very good at riding that razor's edge. And this is another example of that, where it's like, yeah, all right, I'm interested. What has happened to the street? Are we in the past? Are we in some is it an interdimensional rift? Are they transplanted somewhere? I don't know, but I'm immediately interested in this trailer and trying to figure out, okay. And it's funny for me because we've got my wife sitting here. We've got Oak Street, our own Oak Street. Everybody's got an Oak Street, and ours is like right down the street. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool if they just transplanted that to some alternate dimension. But yeah, Anne Hathaway, you got Catwoman and Obi-Wan together in a movie, so I'm obviously in on that. But this looks very, very interesting. I've heard a lot of differing things about it, most of it good. So I'm definitely intrigued on this one.
Yeah, I feel like they're transported to prehistoric times. Like the street just got dropped right on top of the same spot, but dinosaurs are alive, right? And if you look at the end of the trailer where it shows the end of the street and this gigantic drop off, it looks totally like prehistoric jungle wilderness kind of thing. So that's my first take from it. I am actually intrigued in this one. At first, I thought this was going to be Our House is Haunted, and it's some scary, stupid, weird, movie that I don't want to watch.
Because Anne Hathaway was she was really teasing that, wasn't it? Our whole neighborhood is, yeah.
Then you see the dinosaur chasing them, and then you see like the end of Oak Street is like, looks like it would be prehistoric times to me.
The Anne Hathaway I'm scared face, which she puts in like movies throughout her career, and then does that really like stunted speaking, cadence. It appears that our home has been transported. Anyway, check her out on the Double Works Prada 2. That's coming up soon as well. And then come back. We'll go. Tony's gonna be there to see it before us.
I thought you meant T.O.
Yes, T.O. Tony's already got his ticket to the Double Wears Prada 2. I've heard he's got it. He's got the big Screen X. Hold it. He's a big fashionista. Don't let his baseball cap and hoodie fool you. He knows what is the top of the line.
I have a lot of golf outfits.
He's been on the cover of Vogue. He doesn't want to share that, but it's 1999 issue of Vogue, Goofy Golf Pants edition. PC Tony was there. It was a great issue. A lot of fat asses.
Second coming of Payne Stewart fashion wise.
Oh boy, with the hat.
Gotta have
the knickers and all that stuff. Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Speaking of knickers, since we're speaking all British, we also got our first look at the long gestating and talked about HBO Max. Is it a reboot? I guess. I don't know, of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. We're going with the original British title, where we have completely recast everybody. Obviously, because several actors who played prominent roles have passed away. Others are adults. I mean, Daniel Radcliffe has since gotten naked with a horse, so it's kind of tough. He was in the stage production of Equus.
Yes.
Naked with a horse. He's also played a dead guy, which was interesting. That made a lot of fart noises. So, but we got our first trailer. We got our first official look at Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And for those of you listening live, Dave is going to give us a look at it right now, and then we'll talk a little bit more and react to it. At least Dave and I will. Tony does not seem particularly enamored with the Harry Potter.
Let's take a look here.
I told you. You are a normal boy. And you're going to start acting like one. You think you're something special? There is nothing special about you.
I've always wanted to know about my parents.
Your parents were the kindest, bravest people I ever met. They were funny and clever. They stood up for what they believed was right. The next time I see you will be in Hogwarts.
Mr. Potter, I think we can expect great things from you. Let's see who you are.
Are you really Harry Potter?
Okay. Well, looks like Harry Potter.
Right.
and that's the thing is, I have to remind myself. And Tony, I know you're not necessarily commenting, so I'm going to lean on you to do some research for us. The first Harry Potter movie, when did that come out? Because that's what I have to remind myself, is that movie came out in the early 2000s.
It's like 03, I think.
I believe it's been over 20 years since 2001.
Okay.
November 16th, 2001.
So it has been 25 years, basically, by the time this series hit. It will have been 25 years since the original film was released in theaters to much fanfare. And admittedly, saw every stinking one of these movies in the theater. And very much left an impression, was a fan of the series. Still a fan of the series and the books, less so of the author, as more about them has come to be. It's one of the hardest things when it comes to art and the artist. And J.K. Rowling is one that, without a doubt, invites controversy. I'm also not so attached to fandom that I have issues with casting, which may be one of the controversies that you might want to talk about, Dave. I'm not sure. The big one being that they had the audacity to make Severus Snape a black guy. Right. Like it was shocker.
He's a black guy, isn't he?
I know, right? Black sheriff. But anyway,
where are all the white women at?
Where all the white wizards at? Where are all the white wizards at? Yeah. Exactly.
A joke so nice they used it twice. Because why not? It worked in Blazing Saddles. Also, a little underrated Mel Brooks film. But I mean, nothing in this trailer blew me away. It looks cool. And I think this is another moment where I got to remind myself, much like when we talk about live action remakes of Disney films, and our kind of our natural instinct is to be like, F this noise. We already have an original. Why do we need to redo this? It's a reminder that I don't know that this series is necessarily for me as a 47-year-old dude who's read the books when they were published, saw the movies when they came out. I'll probably still watch the series though. At least the first couple episodes, if I can get HBO Max back, as they keep trying to tell me I don't have a subscription. But I don't know. I really don't have a lot of thoughts about it. The kids look great. The footage looks great. I love, and the guy's gonna elude my name. His name is gonna elude me. The guy who plays Hagrid, buddy with he was in
Rubius.
Yeah,
Hagrid.
Who's playing him in this?
Robbie Coltrane.
Yeah, Robbie. No, that's from the movie.
That's from the movie. You gotta look up Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. God, what's his name? I don't know. It's not important. I think that's good casting, though. I think he's a good pick, and it'll work well. John Lithgow with a beard, I'll never quite wrap my brain around, but we got a glimpse of him. We did get a glimpse of Snape, so we'll have to wait and see. Dave, what were your thoughts on this trailer?
Nick Frost.
Nick Frost, yes.
Yeah. Here's the thing is, I guess I was surprised at how much it looked like Chris Columbus's version of the Philosopher's Stone, right? I mean, this looks like the first movie. There's not, the kid playing Harry Potter looks like Daniel Radcliffe when he was a kid, when he first came on there. Rupert Grint is not going to get confused with this version of Ron Weasley. I mean, one of the big I'll say controversies. I don't think it's controversial, but oh gosh, Hermione's black too, or sort of, right? I guess.
She's not a white girl with curly hair.
I think the big thing is that I was surprised at how much it looks like the original Harry Potter, which is neither a good or a bad thing. I don't think. I mean, it does raise the prospect of like my wife sitting here. She watched a trailer. She's not interested. And I get it. A lot of people are like that. I mean, I still question, why did we go and remake this rather than tell what happened to the kids, what everybody wanted? Like, let's move forward with this. There's a lot of meat on the bone there on stories that you could tell after this whole thing happened. So I still don't quite understand that. But
that story is already out there. It's a stage play called Harry Potter and the
Cursed Child. Right. They could have adapted that and done something moving forward, and I think that would have resonated more with people than.
I'm gonna give you a gesture, and I'm gonna bet you that this is gonna do quite well because of the property that it is. But
sure.
the reason why they're not gonna do the Cursed Child is because that is a one season at best, because it's a play.
Yeah,
you can make one movie,
and it also
to a series that you can air for multiple seasons with subscriptions, and to use a gesture we saw earlier on Four Corners, make more money.
Well,
I think it's going to make plenty of money.
Arabella Stanton is the new Hermione.
Yeah,
right.
And it also depends on how tightly J.K. Rowling is holding this property. If she's not going to like we've talked about Night of the Seven Kingdoms, right, and how George Martin gets pissed off. Nine Kingdoms, right? How George Martin gets pissed off about certain things done with House of the Dragon or Night of the Nine Kingdoms.
You can go take a car ride with Tiger Woods.
But he relinquished a lot of the rights to that to HBO, and so that they get to have creative license with that. I don't know if Rowling has done that with this, which is another issue that's hampering them moving forward and doing their own thing. But like you, Pat, I'll probably watch this and check it out and at least see how they're doing with it and see how it's translating. I will say the actor playing Severus Snape, Papa Essedau, I don't know if I pronounced that right. I love this guy because he's getting a lot of hate. And instead of playing the victim, he's basically taking the Rock's approach and just being like, bring it. Bring me all your hate. Bring it on. I will eat it. And love this whole thing.
I knew there was a trailer I forgot to share today because we did get our first look at the Moana and the Rock's wig.
Yeah, right.
There's also a new teaser for Mandalorian and Grogu. But real quick, J.K. Rowling holds significant control over the new HBO Harry Potter series as an executive producer and copyright holder, ensuring the adaptation remains faithful to her original books.
And that's part of the problem why we're not moving forward. But she knows this is going to make a lot of money. It's going to get a lot of views.
What do you mean by move forward? Because 26 years ago, this thing is dropped into Harry Potter, it's fascinating to me because, when you look at what Universal has done with their stake in Harry Potter and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, particularly in their parks.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
there's some cool stories being told there.
Complete Harry Potter lands.
Commercials right now is for going to Harry Potter. They show the adults doing it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But that's the thing is it's a lot of the people that are really excited about this property are adults. They are millennials, late 30s. That what this is intended to do is to renew interest with a younger generation. It's the same thing with Disney and these live action remakes. And I didn't fully understand or buy Disney's approach until I saw the number of people on a Disney cruise ship who fucking lost their shit at the opportunity to see the new live action Lilo and Stitch movie on that ship the day before it released in theaters. And the line to get into that theater, Dave, I kid you not, with the length of the ship. And then that movie made bank. So much so that we're getting a live action sequel. It's why, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense in terms of recency, that Moana, is coming.
Well,
or that Rapunzel is coming.
And,
those are all coming.
Right, and I love what we're doing with this episode because there's a juxtaposition coming up with another very beloved franchise that we're going to talk about a little bit later on, and their approach to what they're doing with this, which is it is every bit as beloved as Harry Potter, maybe not as widespread media wise and popularity wise, but it is
maybe a little crazier, man. Crazier.
But I mean, when we get into that, I love what they're doing there. I mean, it's another of Tunney's favorite franchises, but it's still unique as to their approach to this. Sorry, Tunney, but to come full circle, I'm going to check this out. I want to see what they do with this. I love the franchise. I love the property. I want to see it succeed. If it's going to resonate with a new generation, great. And I mean, you've got these kids and we're going to watch them grow up into these roles, and in a series format, it might create some different opportunities for storytelling. So I'm in the middle of the road as can possibly be on this.
So we'll have to see what happens. December is a ways away. I'm sure we'll get more footage. I'm sure we're going to get a couple.
Nothing's happening in December anyway, right?
Right. It's not a big deal. Right. It is interesting how the Harry Potter series has often been associated with the Christmas holiday.
Yes.
In terms of like when it gets run and released and stuff like that. So anyway, let's move on. Let's take a little trip underground. We're gonna leave the trailer park and take a little trip underground and talk about episode 4 of Invincible season 4, which was largely spent with Mark and Satan and
Volcanica and all these other people.
So, for those of you who don't remember, Damien was a character that was summoned by Cecil, I think in season 3. I can't remember what role he played, but it eventually led him to being banished back to hell by Cecil, which really pissed Damien off. Where we learn that Satan is in a weakened state because of this Volcanica character. Damien and his sister and a group of these other demons try to take down this creature at the very beginning. The creature kicks the shit out of them, though it does seem like these characters can be recovered and revived as weakened, frail old man Satan is doing his work. Damien, in an attempt to summon to summon Omni-Man, basically exercises Invincible to the realm that we know biblically as hell, though we quickly learn that the idea of what is hell and how it all works is the stuff of legend. Here, hell exists, and demons, yes, they do torture souls, but they torture souls in an attempt to prevent a creature from rising up and destroying Earth. And so, while not fully benevolent, as is noted by Satan, they do provide a necessary function that allows humanity to exist and survive. And so Mark finds himself in a place where he feels that he must help. It gives him a nice counterfoil as he sits with Damien and still is trying to work to reconcile who he is as a hero and what his moral compass is, and having to make decisions that may involve the death of another. He also does have a similar heart-to-heart with his tailor. Out of all this, the thing that annoyed me the most about this episode is that we are going to drag out the pregnancy thing being told to Mark as long as possible. As the episode ends, after everything has been resolved, the episode ends with Alan and Omni-Man showing up in front of Mark, and the preview for the next episode is them trying to get Mark and his little brother to go and fight the Viltrumites. Fun episode, though. I thought there was a lot of fun humor, especially that long drop down the shaft where, like, Mark is asking him like, "What's up with the helmet? Why do you keep taking it off, putting it on to talk?" Clancy Brown
was
great.
that was Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey all the way, wasn't it? Where
Very
they fall
similar.
into hell. It's the whole thing. They're just falling forever.
Did you without
and more like more cost cutting too with that scene, not having to really redraw frames and stuff, you know.
right?
Right.
But a hilarious conversation though, while we're on it, real quick. Like the conversation on the way down is getting to the point like why he keeps undoing his helmet every time he talks to him, and that's just fucking hilarious to me. He's like,
It was very funny.
Your dad never asked so many questions.
Yeah.
Now, did anybody cheat and look up who the voice of Satan was? And or did you recognize the voice of Satan?
Yeah,
it's Bruce Campbell.
Real quick. Cecil banished Damien in season 1 after getting too close to the investigating the death of the Guardians, and at the end of season 3, Damien summoned Cecil to warn him that there's much more worse things coming for him. So there you go.
I knew Cecil had done something with all of that. But yes, Bruce Campbell is the voice of Satan, and they really played that up when he comes to me. Did you talk about controversy, Dave? Did you see the social media freakouts about this episode?
No.
Some of the Christians clutching they're promoting Satanism in hell. This is what they're doing. I'm like, come on, people.
I figured that was coming because they
tell
rewrote.
Me you didn't watch the episode without telling me you didn't watch the episode. Give me a fucking break.
I mean, because they had a different spin on hell, that they're actually kind of the good guys in this situation. And of course, where they say there's no heaven, there's nothing like that out there. You know, I mean,
but I liked the way that Damien framed it though, and was like, if we protect Earth and Earth can become better, it becomes heaven.
Right.
That was I liked that concept. I thought that was a nice way of looking at it.
Well, I mean, they steered clear of any sort of real mention of God or anything like that, which should have kept people from completely freaking out.
I think Mark has a really beneficial experience, to be honest with you. He comes back kind of feeling better. He had no problem trying to kill Volcanica. He's like, he gets it now. Like, if it's going to save people, it means something. I like the end where, is it Damien or Satan that's like, aliens from other planets? Who'd have known? Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
That was Satan.
Yeah.
Right.
And I do think it's important to note, in typical Invincible fashion, we did get a little coda where Damien is getting messaged by Satan being like, well, Volcanica did this for a reason. Maybe I might need to come back up there. So not 100% on the up and up.
Feel the gentle kiss of the sun, as something as he says.
Right. This was a really interesting episode in that it was a really tight story that didn't have a lot of branches. Really. We had Eve talking over with their friend about her pregnancy and what to do and whether or not she wants to keep the baby, be a mom.
Dude's like, for the love of God, talk to Mark about it, not me.
Right. He is.
Isn't that William? William?
Yes.
Yeah.
But there wasn't much else to kind of get in the way of this episode in terms of side quests. It was really, really focused.
Yeah.
And I actually was kind of glad for that, because sometimes I do. If there is a problem I have occasionally with Invincible, is that sometimes there's a lot of extracurricular noise that's going on in an episode that can be troublesome to follow. And so I did like that this was relatively tight in terms of an Invincible episode, even though it was a good 50 minutes long.
I think a further point of Mark's growth is when his mom is breaking the news to both the boys that they're going to sell the house and they're all going to move in together in a new house. And Mark's reluctant immediately, and then Oliver is just like not having it, right? And Mark kind of understands in that moment that he needs to be the person that he needs to be, and looks at his mom and says, you know what? I'm happy you're moving forward. I support you, this decision. And what happens instantly? Oliver follows his big brother's lead, right? So I really think moving forward, Mark just becomes, and eventually even more so, hearing about he's going to have a kid, which that kid will win any Battle Madness tournament we fucking have in the future, by the way. Tara Grayson is a fucking load.
I also feel like it's important to, I wonder if Mark ends up making an arrangement to keep that house.
Like him and Eve move in there?
Well, I mean, once they realize that, I mean, we haven't got to that point yet, but I do like what you guys are saying. This was a very tight episode, very singularly focused on one storyline, which is rare for Invincible because normally you've got multiple things going on, so it was a lot easier to follow. I love how Volcanica speaks in this flowery language. Every time she talks about something, it's all just dramatic and apocryphal and that sort of thing. It was kind of fun, but.
What about the complete opposite, though? What's Damien's sister's name?
Domina.
Yeah. She's like, let's kill that bitch. Shit like that. It's complete the antithesis of that, right?
Right. And Damien's favorite line is Herm, which is the name of the episode.
And Mark even says it once in the episode.
He does.
He
does.
When they're sitting there thinking, it's good stuff.
I do love at the very end, you finally get the moment that we're all waiting for, right as Eve's about to tell Mark what's really going on, you get at the exact, this is an 8-episode season, right? So exactly the midpoint.
In typical fashion for this show, they did a lot to warm people up before we finally got there with. And again, I feel like we had this conversation a year ago.
Yeah.
We know that finally this thing is going to happen.
Right.
And I'm just going to say this now. This war ain't getting resolved at the end of this season.
No.
It
probably doesn't even start till the end of the season.
Right.
But hey, there's one cool thing.
Decide to join.
We only got 2 commercials this week.
We did, and one of them was really late. They played a lot of the episode before that first commercial popped.
They really wanted to get you through a lot of the Hell story.
Well, here's another
the most confined thing they've done. Yeah.
Another important part of this episode is Mark takes back his old colors from the tailor. Yep. So he goes back to the original Invincible color scheme, which I think is important for him.
Have you seen the Brisk commercials with him and Eve?
No.
He's like him and Eve are sitting in like a diner or something, and they're drinking cans of Brisk, iced tea, and Brisk has the same colors as Mark.
It does, yeah. That's interesting.
And she's like, yeah, maybe we'll have to go with this, and the colors are okay because technically they had them before you, Mark.
I have not seen.
I'll send it. I'm gonna find it. I'll send it to you guys.
Send it to me personally since I don't have.
Put it in the text thread.
No. Put it in the chat. Dave don't need to see it.
I almost was gonna say that.
Yeah, I don't need to see it. That's fine.
I'm just saying, if you were more responsible with your account, you wouldn't be in this situation.
You're right. Or
really, objectively, if you look at it, it's your fault that this happened.
Initially, yes.
Cybersecurity has nothing to play with, Dave.
Okay. It'd be nice if anyway. I'm not going to get into it.
I'm being a villain. I'm doing my job on the chair shot. So yes, next week looks like it's going to be a much more active episode. Probably a lot more information, a lot more to process. So I'm looking forward to more come next week. But on that note, we're going to take our first commercial break. For those of you that are on the on the feed live and following along with this, it's going to feel like 2 or 3 seconds. For those of you listening here on Monday, well, enjoy your 30 seconds of commercials because much like Amazon, we don't give you a choice. We don't even have a tier. You're stuck listening to it. We got to pay the bills. So you got to listen to commercials, and that's okay. But we'll be right back, and we're going to talk about Daredevil Born Again Season 2 when we do. So stick around for that because not a lot happened, but a lot happened. And it's going to be fun to talk about. You're listening to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com. Welcome back, everyone, to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, a part of the Chairshot.com, where we remind you to always use your head. Make sure if you love what we're doing, you head over to ProWrestlingTees.com/TheChairShot for all of your Chairshot swag needs. Now is the time to share with your friends, share with your neighbors, help us keep going with your support. April 13th, big day for the network. Just keep paying attention to thechairshot.com because some good things are coming. PC Tunney, David Ungar here, and we got our first episode of Daredevil season 2, Daredevil Born Again season 2. I want to start though with an interesting article. I didn't share it, but I stumbled across it that I feel is worth noting, and that is timeline and where this fits into the MCU universe. And Disney recently put out a watch all of the MCU from the beginning in order on Disney Plus and listed out all the shows. And there are two shows that are notably happening last and look to be happening beyond events from the films. And that is Wonder Man, which we'll talk a little bit about later, and Daredevil Born Again. So make of that what you will. This episode is very much a reestablishment and a movement forward, because when we last left Daredevil, Wilson Fisk, Mayor Fisk had become Mayor Kingpin. His crusade against vigilantes and his desire to run guns and smuggle illegally have converged. Fisk has created a special task force within the NYPD that basically has no restrictions and carte blanche. They're pulling people off the streets. They're disappearing. Among the people who have disappeared in the setup of season 2 is Matt Murdock, and that is established and talked about repeatedly throughout the episode. But a lot of it is just re-establishing the status quo. You see that BB Urich is playing both sides, doing propaganda films for the Mayor Kingpin campaign about how great New York is doing, while on the other end, basically sending anonymous style videos out there attacking and accusing the Kingpin of illegal activity. Matt and Karen have gone underground. Karen is now training to fight. Looks like she's getting pretty good at it. Daredevil is actually how we're introduced to the episode, as he brings down a ship that is loaded with illegal arms being smuggled apparently out of the country somewhere. When the crew figures out that there's someone on the ship, they intentionally sink the ship into the harbor. However, that then is leading to a cover-up. We get our first look at Matthew Lillard's mysterious character, who seems to be an antagonist to both what Daredevil is hoping to accomplish, but also to Wilson Fisk. Mm-hmm. And I think those interactions have been very interesting. And we get introduced to the psychiatrist, what is her name? Heather Glenn. She is now part of the Fisk task force and administration, working directly with these incarcerated vigilantes. We see her questioning the swordsman. We see a district attorney calling her and putting pressure on her to change the results of her evaluation, which she does under the influence of Wilson Fisk. So some shady corruptibles, the former lover of Matt Murdock, now working for the Kingpin and helping him to achieve his anti-vigilante work. I feel like this was a very foundational episode, and I know I rattled off a lot there. Tony, I'm going to let you go first this time around. Just some observations, things that you took away from this first episode of Daredevil Born Again.
Since I brought up the Invincible Brisk ad, I've been trying to find it, and I can't fucking find it, and I'm really fucking pissed off about it. Okay, I feel better now. Daredevil, yeah. I pushed hard for us to cover both of these shows because I fucking fall in love with Daredevil. Like, I love the street level Marvel shit. It's so good, right? Kingpin is fucking awesome in this episode. We hit all the numbers here. I mean, and then the ending. We get to the ending, which is fucking great. Just when you think, oh shit. But
I left that out. Yeah.
It's so great to see, Matt Murdock and Karen Page and Karen meeting up with BB and Gandolfini's son growing into his character, and it's just a great series, so much so that I had to tell my mom, who's like joining me on this MCU adventure now, going to all the movies. I'm like, hey, by the way, before we go see the new Spider-Man, you're gonna have to go watch last season of Daredevil and then watch this season too, just in case. But I love this series. It's so good. It's so raw. It's so powerful. Like, I love the fight scenes too. I'm glad it's back. I missed it. I missed that street level kind of darkness. You know, he's definitely, in my opinion, MCU's Batman. That's for sure.
Yeah, I thought first episode getting back into Daredevil, it was an excellent reintroduction to the characters. We get to see Matt and Karen have finally embraced being involved with each other, as you know, as opposed in the past.
They had a little bit of post workout sex.
Yeah, they had there was some sexy time on this episode, and that's okay. Exactly.
For a Disney Plus show, anyway. Yeah.
Heather is haunted by, obviously there's a element of PTSD that she has not self-diagnosed herself with yet, because she keeps seeing Muse, visions of him. So the whole situation that she underwent with him has scarred her pretty deeply. I'm sure that's going to be a big factor going forward. The swordsman trying to play coy and then realizing that he's going to have to play ball, and starts answering questions the way that she wants him to answer questions. There's also you haven't seen her yet, but it's clear that Jessica Jones is involved in this, because there's mentions of her. What did Jess think about this? So Matt's obviously working with her. Karen's obviously working with her. He's got his own army that he's putting together to fight back against the Kingpin. And it is a very cool reintroduction of the characters. And then of course we lead up to the climactic conclusion, which is going to be impactful moving forward.
So I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, and I'll ask you guys if you want to know, or if you kind of already figured out, or if maybe it's just something that people have preconceived notion on already, and I'm just kind of stupid. But I know exactly who sent Mr. Charles.
The guy from DC?
The guy,
Matthew Lillard's character.
Yeah, I know who sent him.
We're not a spoiler-free show, so go ahead and lay it out if you want to.
Valentina.
They mentioned her, didn't they? Didn't they mention her in this episode at some point?
They just mentioned Langley, basically.
Right. By the way, I loved his combination of.
So now we're bringing the Thunderbolts into Brand New Day too, apparently, right?
Maybe.
Sorry, Pat.
Yeah. I loved his bursting onto the scene in the office, where he is a combination of his character from Scream, while at the same time being a little sinister. Like he likes to play as if he is somewhat aloof and silly, but and you know, I always love Vanessa, the character of Vanessa, because Vanessa in the comics in here, she's a smart woman, and she knows that guy's not one to fully trifle with, right? Like you can't take him lightly, and she doesn't, even when Wilson needs a little convincing. And she seems to recognize it right away. But love his introduction. I love to see, again, like you said, how he's going to both work for and against both Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk, because I think he is going to be a quote unquote tweener in this series and in this season.
Valentina, right?
Right, exactly.
Goal and objective. So yeah, obviously both of those kind of play into it, but not specifically or directly, right?
Right. So I do look forward to going there. And we do have to, of course, talk about the ending, where we had seen it established earlier, and I'm going to forget the guy's name, what he's called on the show. The informant, or not the informant, the PI for Matt Murdock.
Oh, Cherry.
Cherry.
Yeah.
Cherry. So, you know, he's going through some files. Fist Task Force shows up to take him in. They start beating the shit of him. Matt shows up to save him, but then, and this is the curse sometimes of Daredevil and his ability to have super sensitive hearing, he hears Cherry is having a heart attack, recognizes it, and it slows him down. He hesitates, and that allows the Force to beat him up and pull his mask off. And one of the officers is like, holy shit, it's Matt Murdock. And then all of a sudden, flip, all of them drop and die, followed by a throwing knife landing right in front of Daredevil. It basically is like, you're welcome, with a bullseye drawn on it. and now they're even because Murdoch had gone to bat and helped Bullseye in the previous season with their battle with Fisk. So that means Bullseye's out there. He's on the loose, and he is a free agent. And don't be fooled, folks. Bullseye, kids, if you have any illusions that Bullseye is going to magically become a good guy, no. Bullseye is a hard motherfucker. Bullseye is my favorite. So Batman did this really, really well with silly characters that are sinister and horrifying. Marvel, not so much. Not nearly all. Bullseye is one of my favorites. We took a goofy dude and we made him fucking evil. Like, he is evil in the comics. Just criminally insane evil. But with a silly costume in the comic books. Little Bullseye.
Right. And I think like Daredevil season 3 of the Netflix show really captured a lot of that Bullseye element, that maniacal, without the silly costume, just the slow decline into absolute insanity.
No silly scarring tattoo in his head with Ben Huflack. None of that shit. Real deal. No messing around with Bullseye. It was a great scene. It was a great way to finish that up. And when that knife drops, I was like, oh! Even though I knew that it was him. Like, when all that happened, because it was like, okay, who's gonna keep his identity secret here? Because like, we're not gonna out him.
Until I saw the knife, I thought it was Frank. I thought Frank had taken these guys out, right?
Well, I wondered if it was going to be Jessica. I thought maybe that was going to be Jessica's big appearance coming in.
Yeah, could be.
And, like,
I was with Dave until I saw the knife.
Right.
I actually said it out loud. I'm like, oh!
Punisher. Yeah.
But because we have prominently put Jessica Jones in the trailers, that to me is why I went Jessica Jones and not Frank Castle, because Frank Castle's got something else coming up. A couple of something else coming up. He's got a brand new day to worry about, and as we're going to talk about in a little bit after our next commercial break, he's got his own business to take care of. So either way, very strong, very solid start to an episode. I look forward to episode 2, and I'm actually very appreciative that Disney's going to just dole these out one at a time, because I need one at a time for these, and I'm looking forward to it. So. Great start. The Boys starts in like a week or 2.
Let's make it 3. Come on, we can do it. I believe in you guys.
The
show is going to transition, folks, to nothing but episode reviews, with a smattering of news.
Well, if Ray stays on vacation, what's it matter, right?
These are like 3 of the most Bandwagon Nerds approved shows ever, though, right? Like, I mean,
and 2 of them in particular.
For Boys season last year, but anyway.
Well, but 2 of them in particular, though, have been shows, that were foundational at the start of when we started covering shows. Like, I mean, I think the first one we ever started with was it The Witcher?
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian was first, and then we started getting into some other ones. So we've lost some joy along the way. I mean, Tony was killed by Lock and Key. He is not.
Well, I mean, you think about how
he's not enamored with The Witcher,
right? And most of the shows that we've covered have not ended like look at Umbrella Academy's last season. They kind of ended with a thud, that's
a Netflix problem. And I do think getting
overall, like Umbrella Academy, and
it was good.
Doom Patrol, WandaVision, all Bandwagon Nerds approved.
I missed Doom Patrol. Such a bonkers show.
This is a great place for me to drop a Lego hint in here, and go check my feed. I posted like all my Lego shit the other day, some pretty cool stuff, and made me realize how much I have to build. But I do want Brendan Fraser's head as that character in a Lego. That'd be really cool, I think.
I was going to say, can I say one thing, Pat, before you? Going back to Invincible, when all the shit's breaking down in hell and they throw Slayer, Rain, and Blood in there, I thought that was excellent.
And I put that in the chat, actually, in the DM that you can't see.
Yeah,
while I was watching it, I'm like, fucking Slayer. Awesome. Yes. It was perfect. It was
perfectly done. Yeah.
I had to go, actually. The great thing about Amazon does better than anybody else is while you're watching and they're playing music, you can tell what the music is without stopping it. You can pick the cast and everything. I'm like, that's Slayer. Yep. Holy shit.
I really wish some of these streaming services could just like, and I know I get it's your intellectual property and things you don't want to share. There are two features in two different streaming services that I really appreciate and wish existed in other streaming services. One was what you just talked about, Tony, with being able to like who is that voice and having those actors' names pop up or the song. The other one that I love is Apple TV Plus. And if you've ever been in a situation where somebody says something, you're like, what the fuck did they just say? So you back it up and you play it again, you play it again. Apple TV, if you back it up for 15 seconds, gives you closed captioning because it intuitively knows that you're trying to hear what it was saying.
That's pretty cool.
So it gives you closed captioning as to what's being said. And I've used that so much for Pluribus, for example, because Pluribus has such low talking at different points. Which thanks for jumping on that bandwagon, Dave. Hope you talk about it, what you watch.
That's an amazing feature that I didn't know about because I haven't been on Apple for a while. I need to get back on there, but I don't know how many times I found myself doing the same exact thing. Like these two words are really important to me, and I can't understand. Like I'll go back, listen to it for 3 times, and then now I gotta pause, go back far enough so that makes sure that the closed captioning starts before they start talking, because sometimes you don't, and then it doesn't, and you can do it again. So if everybody could adopt those features, Patrick, if you want to run on that platform, you will get my vote.
Fair enough. I will see if I can do that. I bet you it would end wars. I think it would end wars if we got all our streaming services working properly.
Well, just open the Strait of Hormuz. That would be a good start,
Maybe that's what it is that they're trying to, but nobody can hear what they're saying. They keep backing it up. And anyway, we're not going to go there today. Yes. What we are going to do is we're going to go to a
caption
commercial break.
On the way.
Yeah, right.
Fuck.
We're gonna take our commercial break and then go into some news around the nerdosphere. Marvel dropped a couple of nuggets. Stephen Colbert is working on something big. Disney did a really big thing. So all of that coming, plus what you watch, and stay tuned. Again, if you're listening live, we'll be back in a second. If you're not listening live, we'll see you in 30 seconds. You're listening to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com. All right, welcome back, everyone, to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com, where we remind you to always use your head. Patrick O'Dowd, David Ungar, PC Tunney, Ray's on vacation. We are moving right along in this episode, heading into news around the nerdosphere, and we're going to start. We've been talking MCU. We're going to stay with the MCU, and just nothing big, but good news, if you ask me. One, we got an announcement from Disney sharing that the Punisher One Last Kill, a singular, it's one of those Marvel special presentations, so think of it as a one-shot. It looks like, it doesn't look like it's a full series, but it is coming to Disney Plus May 12th, which in the land of timelines, we'll say in the land of release timelines, but I'm willing to bet this is also going to fit in the Sony part of the MCU timeline. This is going to be pre-Spider-Man. And if I lived in a perfect world and wanted to be wildly speculative, wouldn't it be great if Tom Holland somehow was in Punisher One Last Kill to lead you in to Brand New Day? I know it's not, but wouldn't it be great? Tell me what you got, buddy.
So specifically, it's going to be about 60 minutes, and the story follows Frank Castle hunting mobsters, taking place after the events of Daredevil Born Again Season 1 and leading into Spider-Man Brand New Day storyline.
Yeah, so great stuff. Dave, give your thoughts on anticipating this series and how ready you are for Frank Castle to come back.
Oh yeah, I think the more Punisher we get, the better. He's obviously going to be an integral part of Spider-Man Brand New Day. I'd be shocked if he's not in Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Very shocked. But anything that kind of expands upon Frank's story and gives you more of an idea as to what's been going on with him, his own. Just listening to Bernthal's description of what the show's going to be about and how it's going to enable him to tell a story at a side of Frank that he's been wanting to tell is a good thing, because the Punisher is obviously a pretty complex character, a pretty serious dude in every way possible. So I'm thinking, yeah, this is going to be good. We haven't gotten a really dedicated, like a Disney Plus special, MCU related since. What was it? The werewolf special that they did.
They did that. They did the Guardians Christmas thing where Kevin Bacon was in there.
Right. But this will be like the first one since I'm drawing a blank on the werewolf special. What it was
I can't remember.
But
that was great though. I wish they would do more of that horror side. Like if you want to bring Blade back, do it like that.
Don't say that too loud. You'll get Ray to come out of vacation, Tunney, if you're gonna invoke the return of Blade here. So
Ray can't do anything right now. He's getting his hair did.
Pat, what was that? The werewolf special that Marvel did a couple years back.
Oh, Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, Werewolf by Night. Yeah, so I was saying that this is going to be the first. Yeah, this is going to be the first one of these sort of one-offs that they've done. Tony mentioned the Guardians Christmas special, which was similar but different. But I like that. I think we need more of these one-off sort of situations where you can go a little bit deeper into a character's story arc. And clearly Bernthal wants to tell a story about Punisher here that we haven't got yet that is true to the Punisher character. So I'm like,
the difference
I'll be there.
The difference between the two things we mentioned, though, like the Guardians Christmas thing and the werewolf special, is that this is specifically helping you move into something gigantic within what they're doing storytelling wise overall. And I would appreciate if they would do that specifically more to kind of flesh out some of these characters that people might know as well, that are so intricate to the story they have been and are about to tell even more so.
I do want to go back to one thing that you said, Dave, and just something that I disagree with. I don't think you're going to see Frank Castle in season 2 of Daredevil. No. I think that this is occurring concurrently with season 2 of Daredevil. Because we last see Frank, he breaks out of his cell, and he's gone. And while I think yes, he's also on the hunt on the lam, Frank's never been a team guy. He never, like, it's a one and done, a show up and leave. And I think that in this case he's working on his own shit while Daredevil's working on his shit. I don't think it's going to be there.
To your point, him and Matt didn't exactly part on the best of terms in season 1. That great interaction they had where Frank was on him to say his name and all that sort of stuff, and Matt basically says goodbye. So you may be right about that. Yeah, that's a good point. What's that?
John Bernthal's Frank Castle does not appear in Daredevil Born Again season 2.
Okay.
So there you have it. The other piece of news that we got, and not surprising at all, but is kind of a rarity these days with MCU series, though I am glad to see, where we got Born Again season 2, official. Wonder Man season 2 is confirmed. Given where they left off that series, I didn't see that there was any way they couldn't have a season 2 with Simon breaking Trevor out of prison and finally showing his powers, truly showing his powers, which is what they've been building to. And probably what was the best thing about season 1, and I know you can only go so far with it, was the knowledge that Simon was a metahuman, yet doing everything he could to show that he was not a metahuman so that he could get this role as Wonder Man. And now that is going to transition to the hero, not the hero within the show, but the actual hero of the show moving forward. And the fact, Ben Kingsley, in my opinion, Oscar winner Ben Kingsley portrayed Mahatma Gandhi on the big screen. Decorated British actor, knighted by the Queen herself, having the fucking time of his life in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Anytime, if you would have told me that of all the things to come out of Iron Man 3 which at the time, if you all will remember, was highly controversial. What they did with the Mandarin character and Ben Kingsley and Trevor Slattery. If you would have told me Trevor Slattery would be one of the top like characters that I'm excited to know is in a show or a series, I may have had my doubts because I was annoyed. I was one of those annoyed comic book purists back in the day. I have let that go.
Retainer Boy? Not Retainer Boy.
I would have gone Retainer Boy over that back, a decade ago for Iron Man 3. Between him and I need to get what's her name back, her and her boy Wongers, and I can't remember.
Oh, Madison.
Madison. Yeah. We need some Madison back in our lives as well in the MCU, but Trevor Slattery is the king of useful comic relief, and so to know that this show is coming back, that it's been confirmed, that they have plans for Wonder Man, that made my day, guys. When I got to share that post with y'all, except for Dave, it made my day. But Dave then shared it in the chat, so we knew he saw it.
I think the chemistry between Yaya and Ben Kingsley is just ridiculous.
It's just phenomenal.
You can see it. Like, you can tell that they are just enjoying doing what they're doing. And Wonder Man is this classic thing of like life imitating art turning into art imitating life, right? It's just what happens with this character. It transitions from one to the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's living his life trying to imitate what he saw, and then all of a sudden he's actually the art in the life. You know what I mean? He's the real Wonder Man now. It's so complex and beautiful. It might not. I don't behold it as the best Marvel series, but I think it might be my favorite.
It's the best of this newer wave of Marvel series,
sure.
I would say.
For sure.
WandaVision's
still WandaVision.
Have we gotten Aesop to watch this yet? I forgot to. I should have invited him today. I firmly believe he should watch this show. I really do.
I think Aesop's kind of checked out on the MCU a couple years ago, but he should watch it.
But I think that all of the things that he has a problem with like Marvel shows, this show doesn't have. There's no bad guy. Like, that's the thing that's really like the bad guy is damage control.
The bad guy is Agent Cleary, played by Arian Muad.
But there's no bad guy redemption arc. It's just a different one of his biggest complaints, and is a very typical complaint of the MCU. So it's not an invalid complaint because I see it. Is the amount of sameness, right? It's this to be a wrestling critic for a minute. It's the complaint that we hear from the punditry when it comes to the WWE is the sameness of what is going out there. It's the lack of originality in plot and story, that it just always seems to have the same sort of feel and pattern. Wonder Man does not do this, and that is why it is a show I wish I would hope he would give a chance if he has the time, because I think he would see it differently based on what I know of him.
I just want to say one thing before we move on. Joey Pants,
Movies?
You're an asshole.
Oh, yeah. Joey Pants. I love the dude. Everybody who's in that movie or
What a
that
great
show.
scene that was, to be honest.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great scene. Such a great cast from the guest stars to Mario Lopez is in that show. We disappeared Mario Lopez, or we disappeared Josh Gad. That's right. We disappeared Josh Gad.
Yeah.
Josh
Doorman
Gad,
is just Doorman is just like a brilliant kind of side quest.
Right.
Ding dong, motherfucker.
Ding dong. All right.
Here is my official pitch that we should cover season 2, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. Did we not cover season 1?
No.
What were we
We
doing
did with
instead?
What You're Watching.
Yeah. We'll see. Anyway. I gave you the dad answer. We'll see.
It's okay. You're a chair shot villain. I love you.
Let's move on. Let's go to Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson.
See you later, Tony.
Well, here's the thing that's
Take me up so fucking high, Patrick, and then you bring me way the fuck down.
just
This
It's
is
fine.
a news story that you
Fine.
shared, sir.
I know. I bought a Lego Lord of the Rings. I know.
When are you gonna buy that helicarrier? By the way, that Lego
That's a Dan kind of thing. We have certain categories we
No.
fall under to kind of complete a kind of underground museum, as if you will.
Lego's putting out a Shield helicarrier set, Dave.
Yeah, he sent Patrick. Would you text that to me? Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Anyway, okay. So news broke this week that Stephen Colbert and his son are working with Peter Jackson to develop a new Lord of the Rings film for Warner Brothers. And Dave, this, by the accounts in the interview that's been done, this is what you've been looking for when it comes to content it's kind of like Rings of Power in the sense that you want content within the world, but not necessarily a redux and a redo of what's already come out. And in this interview with Peter Jackson, where he talks about his reverence and love of the Lord of the Rings films, which, folks, if you don't understand, Stephen Colbert, he doesn't just love Lord of the Rings. Like, he is a walking information repository about those novels. He can quote them. He can point out flaws in chapters, things he's missing. One of my favorite interviews of all time is when he's talking to Patton Oswalt on his show. And Patton Oswalt says something about reading The Hobbit. And Colbert's just like, because he doesn't like The Hobbit at all. And then he and Patton Oswalt, which also geek national treasure, Patton Oswalt, like, they start having this like nerd conversation about why Lord of the Rings is superior to The Hobbit and how great it is. And Stephen Colbert, he worships these books. So if there's anybody who is going to give a loving treatment to the Lord of the Rings in a spin-off type of movie, it's Stephen Colbert. And in the interview that he gave with Peter Jackson, where the two of them were talking about this, he basically talks about these chapters that weren't in the movies that could be put into a movie all its own and make sense and work for a film. And that appears to be what we are looking at here. So for all you Tom Bombadil fans out there, and I know there's a lot, your day is coming. Your day is coming. Tunney's favorite character in The Lord of the Rings is coming. Tom Bombadil is to PC Tunney what Flash Gordon is to Ray Cash. So good stuff coming with that. And I trust Stephen Colbert to at least give it a loving treatment. I don't know what kind of a scriptwriter he is. That's yet to be seen. But you can't at least give him you can't not give him some benefit of the doubt that he's at least gonna put out a quality, an accurate script. Dave, since you're the other Lord of the Rings person here, one ring to rule them all, your thoughts on this news and what it could mean for New Line Cinema and Peter Jackson.
I thought the whole thing that they did was really cool because they're talking about the hunt for Gollum, and you get to see a little bit behind the scenes in Andy Serkis and what they're doing with that. So you know that that's still in the works and probably coming next year. Hashtag 2027. But yeah, the stuff that Colbert is going to do with these stories from Lord of the Rings that didn't make it in the movie for one reason or another. And like I mentioned earlier, when we were talking about Harry Potter, this is perfect. You know, this is like, we're not remaking anything. We're not like moving forward, so to speak, in the timeline. We're not, doing, I mean, a lot of people want them to do the Silmarillion and that sort of thing, but we're not doing that. We're just,
no.
It's
no.
Aesop might like that.
Dave,
I know he's mentioned
no.
that. Okay,
No.
all right.
No. Hey, wait.
No. But these are cool stories that they can do with this sort of thing and really add some and I think like the description that they put in there, like so they're talking about where Colbert's working with the script. Frodo's passed away, and it's the other three hobbits and then Sam's daughter who are kind of piecing this missing history together, and how it kind of may have made a situation where the War of the Rings could have been decided before it ever really started. So I'm fascinated to see what they're going to do with that. And I love the interview where they're talking about how they thought Colbert wouldn't have any time, but now all of a sudden he's got all of this time coming up this summer.
Lots of time.
Yeah, lots of downtime and that sort of thing. So I think it's great. I think Lord of the Rings is one of those, Tony may not like me saying this, but it's got a very Games of Thrones-ish element to it, that there's still a lot of meat on that bone and a lot of stories that can be told. I mean, you could do 12 movies off the fucking appendix alone if you really wanted to, that sort of thing. So I'm excited about it. I want to see where they go with this sort of thing. And I do, The Hobbit, the movies were meh at best, I would say, for most of us. They were some better than others. But again, like we've said many times, you didn't need 3 movies to tell that story. But I'm thrilled about this because I think there's a lot in the Lord of the Rings books that lend itself to some excellent storytelling, and now we're going to get a chance to see some of that.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And again, I think we got the right guy to do it and to send it on.
And what about the Silmarillion? What did you want to say about that?
No, we don't need the. Dude, I've tried. So I will say, it takes a special person to read the Silmarillion. Yes. I've tried 3 times. I've tried 3 times.
It's not easy.
So it is so dense and just so hard to read. And it's all lore, right? It's all lore. The world of what the world was before the One Ring and everything leading up to the Lord.
Tony, have you read the Silmarillion? I'm just
cover to cover. He's a big fan.
So the last thing I read was Caddy Tales by Mark Militz. So go check it out. You can find that at caddytales.co. Support your local caddies.
Nice.
In other words, no.
Your words, not mine.
All right. Let's move on to our last story of the day, and this was kind of a big one. So a few months ago, Disney had entered into a deal with OpenAI, which would allow their Sora platform to be able to use Disney intellectual property for the purpose of content creation. Disney was selling it as a way for them to better incorporate using AI within their own creative process and filmmaking, basically touting this as the next logical step. And then OpenAI dumped Sora completely.
Yeah.
And so that led to Disney exiting out of their multi-billion OpenAI deal, which on the surface, that's the story, right? That they walked out. But it's also the story because Josh D'Amaro, the new CEO of the Walt Disney Company, in one of his multiple bullet points when he did his first address to workers within the company, talked about embracing advancing technology, and AI is absolutely a part of that as they continue to try and stay on the cutting edge of not only developing products within their parks and their systems, but also in the world of filmmaking. And so for Sora to shut down and Disney to leave this OpenAI deal, Disney is back in the market for an AI partner, and it'll be very interesting to see who comes to the forefront. And Disney's going to want a lot of control of that. So it'll be interesting to see who wants to make a deal, and we'll let Disney do what Disney wants to do.
Isn't it interesting that Disney's decided to farm it out and maybe buy something as opposed to creating their own? I know that's kind of what Netflix did, but I thought Netflix was kind of more of starting to create their own kind of thing instead of using that money that they were going to use to buy.
Right. They reinvested in it on their own. The thing I always say this about Disney when it comes to kind of new technologies. You generally, if there are similar products in the world, whichever one Disney chooses to work with becomes the one that wins. And my favorite example is HD DVD versus Blu-ray. HD DVD was largely regarded as the superior form of technology, but Disney put their movies on Blu-ray. Shortly thereafter, Blu-ray became much more prominent. Other companies jumped on board. Blu-ray won. HD DVD went the way of the dino. They became beta.
It also helped that the PlayStation 2 went Blu-ray, and that made a big difference.
Yeah,
Sony also had a big part of it.
Yeah.
But when the mouse backs something like that it's just the way it goes.
I laugh because I worked at Blockbuster in the late 90s, and I remember when we were renting out laser discs that were the size of fucking
albums.
Like, give me a fucking break, man. Like, why didn't that survive? People come in.
But see, like, but they were the superior technology. They were the superior technology if you really used it.
Let's go back in time even farther. Beta, VHS. Beta was much better. The porn industry chose VHS, and that's what happened.
That's
true story.
Game
Look
over.
it up, folks.
No, it's not a secret.
Well, like I mean, Tuddy's, and I know this is jumping ahead a little bit from what you watching, but there's an episode in Pluribus where isn't Carol sending out like VHS tapes, and I'm like, how did these guys have VHS machines still available at this point in time? But I mean, I digress. This story here to me,
I have a working VHS, Dave.
Do you? Yeah. I'm proud of you, Tuddy. There's a bigger, I mean, the Disney aspect of it is a big deal, but there's a bigger issue going on here where OpenAI scuttling Sora. And let's be real, there was nothing wrong with Sora. Sora worked exactly how it was supposed to work. I don't think they anticipated the pushback from the artists in the industry that they got. And they got a lot of pushback. And that was a big factor in OpenAI saying, hey, look, we don't need this much heat. Let's put Sora on the back burner for now. And as soon as they did that, Disney said, hey, wait a second. This was supposed to make our lives a lot easier. And at that point, Disney said, okay, we're backing out of this thing. OpenAI got rid of Sora and that sort of thing. The technology is obviously still there, and it's a breakthrough technology for what it's used for. But yeah, when you're impinging on the rights of artists and a lot of these other people to make a living, and they push back as hard as they did, OpenAI said, yeah, we don't need this much heat. As far as who's Disney going to go to, I mean, Anthropic is the one that jumps to mind because Claude has got some ridiculous capabilities that are going on right now. But it's not going to solve the problem because Claude, if they start going into this digital, rendering, video rendering on demand sort of thing, they're going to get the same sort of pushback. So, at some point you say, well, how do we bridge this gap? And I think like what we talked about a couple weeks ago with Netflix getting out of their deal and going with Ben Affleck's company, which is not video creation, but enhancing these creators who are doing all this pushback and making their job easier. That's where you're going to see this breakthrough. So OpenAI and Sora will probably pivot as well to try and work more with the creators so that there's not this backlash that OpenAI got from this whole Sora platform. So it's a much bigger story, and it's another evolution in how AI is starting to reshape the industry and how people are going to be able to use it effectively for what they want to use it for, rather than what I think Disney originally thought, which is like, hey, we could have this cool thing that's going to create all this fun stuff. And it's like, well, about that, and
right.
you run into issues.
And the cynic in me is like, OpenAI and Sora got the data they wanted and then closed it down.
Yeah, I mean,
that is part of what is floating around out there.
It is very interesting for me, and Tunney knows this, and this ties into unidentified history. Like the historical deep dives and the documents that I use is a collaborative effort with me and ChatGPT. And I think I mentioned this on the last episode that I've noticed that ChatGPT has a very skeptical kind of take on things, whereas like Gemini is much more open. And like I think Tony you'd mentioned, and I think Ray mentioned, look where they're pulling from, and ChatGPT pulls a lot from Wikipedia, whereas the other platform.
Mine too. I'm sorry to bring the source spot up, Dave, but that's what I use for a lot of stuff too, just to help advance research. Like it's not cheating; it's just expediting the position you're in.
Right, and I think too many people think all AI is cookie cutter. It's one service serves all, and that's not the case at all. They are pulling from different sources. They're accessing different databases, and they're learning at a different rate.
Well, that's one of my favorite things about Grok is I can set parameters on what I want it to search too. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what you need to do.
Hearing you guys talk about this, I wish there was one other trailer that I almost shared to cover today, and maybe we'll do it next week. It's a documentary about AI and impact and what's happening. It's a little bit more sinister. I'll admit that in terms of its take, but I also thought the trailers. I'll look for it and find it, see if I can post it, and maybe we talk about it.
Well, I think from the human standpoint, as humans, we have to be skeptical about AI and what it's doing and where it's drawing from, and just be aware of stuff. Well, you can't stop the revolution, but kind of keep an eye on it.
And I do think there's a couple of there are a bunch of things converging here. There is this new technology that a lot of people don't understand that has been shown in some cases to lie or be wrong, and at other times is also very much a tool that is being used to advance a lot of very important stuff, not just in entertainment.
Well, point of Kate, let me comment on that. Because of what I do, the area of the law that I'm in, one of the big companies out there developed their own kind of AI, so you can ask it questions and have it, help you out, research and that sort of thing. But you also have to be careful.
Chairshot.com, because Chairshot.com is going to have an AI questionnaire for you. Make sure you tune in.
Don't know if you guys are going to give me legal advice, but thank you. But no, there have been documented cases where AI has just made up case law that doesn't exist, and people don't bother to double check that. And I'm not going to name names, but a major law firm got popped for this because they just took what AI gave them and sent it to the court and said, this is the case law that supports our position. And the judge said, this case does not exist. You just got sanctioned and reported to the bar. Don't do that shit again. So you've always got to double check this stuff. It's stunning. It's a great research tool to point you in the direction of things that actually exist, but you got to be careful that it doesn't embellish things too much or create facts where there aren't any, create law where there isn't any.
So specifically with Grok, and I've been verified for a while, so I've had access to it, and I've tried different versions. I even did the free test version of Super Grok, which is $30 a month. I just did the trial. I'm not paying $30 a month, but it's grown. My opinion in Grok, there's a lot of times early on I'm like, oh my goodness, you are so far fucking off, and I'd prompt it and go, oh, you're absolutely right. Yeah, just like you're saying. So you can expedite the process of research and things of that nature, but you still have to do your own due diligence on what you've been given at an expedient speed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you're absolutely right, Dave. That's a great fucking point. And here's the thing. At some point, Ray and I joke about this right now. Where AI is at right now, it is not taking over a fucking thing. But it's moving forward and exponentially will continue to move forward. So
the rate of progression,
at some point, and sooner than later, much sooner, like tomorrow, there need to be fail-safes installed into whatever AI is projected into whatever it's doing.
Compare Grok a year ago to today.
Well, that's kind of was my point.
And even before I got suspended and stuff, I mean, I still try to talk to Grok on X now, but it won't let me.
I'll give you an
but
example.
I do it outside of it. But yeah, like you're saying, its rate of learning and its way to adjust is increasing all the time.
I was doing some research for a project I've been working on this morning with Grok, and it corrected itself while giving me the answer.
Mm-hmm.
It literally talked and said the wrong thing and then went, oh wait, I'm sorry, that's wrong. This is the right thing. Within 2 sentences. That's big progression.
But like you said, it will admit when it's wrong. I've done stuff where I've asked a question about a video game, and it's crossing a video game with another video game.
Right.
And I'll say, I think you're pulling this into here, and it's like, you're right, I am. And that sort of thing. So it's an interesting conversation.
When I went to check the PBA Grand Slam winners, Patrick, what you'll hear tomorrow on Four Corners, I put in PBA. It gave me the Peru Baseball Association.
I didn't know there was a Peru Baseball Association.
Neither did I. I was like, holy shit,
sharing.
this Alejandro Guadalajara won 4 bowling championships? I've never heard of that guy.
How about that?
How about that indeed? All right. I'm sure we're going to learn more of this when Disney inks its next deal, or maybe does choose to develop its own. We'll have to see what happens from there. But that does take us to the final segment of the show, gentlemen, and that is what you're watching. It is, we are clearly watching Daredevil Invincible, but on top of that, Dave, you already mentioned it a couple of times. I brought it up once. Why don't you tell everybody what you're watching? Because I want to hear your thoughts on at least one of those programs.
Yeah, I think I got a couple episodes left of Pluribus in season 1. It's a great show. I mean, it's really just a phenomenal show. Carol's journey through the hive mind is, and I love it. It is just one of the most unique takes on an alien invasion ever, because it doesn't feel like an invasion, even if it clearly is, but it's a very unique sort of take on this whole thing. The other big thing, and I messaged you as soon as I got done with it, but I finished 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, which I think hits Netflix in the next week or two, Pat. So you'll be able to watch it for free.
Yeah.
Boy, that was, I mean, I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago, it's a little bit, the first half is a little bit difficult to watch. It's a tough watch. But boy, the last part of it really amps up, and it ends just the way that it ends. You're like, please let them finish this trilogy. And I can't say anything more, but when you see the end and what happens at the end and the people who appear, you'll be like, okay, that sort of thing. Fascinating story. And again, similar to Pluribus, it is such a different take on this zombie apocalypse. And, we talked about Harry Potter. Ralph Fiennes is in this, and he's, of course, plays Voldemort. And you watch him in this, and you saw 28 Years Later, so he's in that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you watch him, and it's like, I feel Voldemort, a nicer, kinder, gentler version of Voldemort in this whole thing.
I still say about 28 Years Later, it's the first, like, if you would have told me that scene where he climbs the tower after his mother dies, like, I teared up. Like, it was really a powerful moment. It was really great, and shows you why Danny Boyle is such a good movie maker. And
there's some real powerful moments down the stretch in the Bone Temple that I think you'll very much appreciate. But those are
I am looking forward to seeing it when it hits streaming.
Yeah, those are the big ones from this past week for me.
Cool. I nothing new this week for me. I kept with Scrubs, the Bill Lawrence trilogy of Scrubs, Rooster, and Shrinking. Have been keeping me going in terms of comedy. I also watched the second episode of Born to Bull, got caught up on that, and I thought episode 2 was stronger than episode 1, and
good to hear.
And in a way, so bowlers on social media, I don't think they understand what they hoped this documentary to be. That hasn't exactly matched what it is, because a lot of the complaints they've had is, I wish they would show these bowlers in a better light, because they're showing these bowlers during the U.S. Open, a major tournament, one of the major tournaments, and it's showing them succeed, struggle, and fail in different ways and times. And so it is showing them frustrated, angry, and mad, whether that's at their own performance, at their ball rep, which Anthony Simonson is a big focal point of this episode. And Simo is one of the fieriest. He's like the most fined guy in the PBA. Because the
Luka Doncic of the
he puts
That's the name that came to my mind.
He puts all of his emotions into everything. And he was having a bad qualifying round, and the more pissed off he gets, the better he bowls. So you want Simo feeling good. But there was an incident, it was a very infamous incident, where he fucking lost it on the ball rep. And for those who don't know, ball rep is your sort of like on the scene advisor that can work with you to strategize whether it's a different approach, a different ball, or a different, what it is that you may need to do to adjust to the lanes when you're struggling. So kind of like a coach on the field. These ball reps work with brands, specific brands. So if Tunney and I are both storm bowlers, we could actually, in theory, have the same ball rep to be working with. Now, if we're working against each other, there'll be two different ball reps that we'd work with. But these ball reps also help them get their gear ready with the drilling and surfacing, all of that fun stuff.
I'd like to think in this hypothetical scenario, we would have the same people looking after both of our balls, Patrick.
I would hope so too. But there's these people who are like, I wish they wouldn't show them just being all mad and swearing. I was like, that's what they are, though. That's what these bowlers, like, they're showing what this documentary has done in the second episode in particular is really showing these human beings. And that's what a good documentary, like, I think that people wanted this to be some rah-rah, look how great bowling is as a sport. And that is part of it, that this is a sport. And Simo's story, which gets told further along, and by the end of that episode, you understand who Anthony Simonson is in a way you may not have known before, especially if you weren't a bowler. That's what makes this thing go and is what makes people interested in these bowlers. So I really have enjoyed these two episodes so far. My favorite part, Anthony Simonson was dealing with some back issues. EJ Tackett has qualified for the television round, and Simo is stretching his back. Tackett is relaxing, and the documentary is like, EJ, do you worry for Anthony and Simo and like how his back is doing, how he's feeling, and having to pull this tournament? And EJ looks right at the camera and right at Simo. He's like, I don't care how his back's feeling. I only care about how my back is feeling. I care about whether or not I'm going to win and what I need to do to win. And so is Anthony Simonson. We don't care about how somebody else is doing.
If he dies,
he doesn't care about how I'm feeling.
He dies.
That's why EJ Tackett is the best bowler in the league right now, because he is singularly focused on what he needs to do to win a tournament. So that's what I'm watching. Born to Bowl. I'm really enjoying it. Tunney, what you watching, bud?
I need to catch up on my HBO series. I'm going to do that after this right here. Born to Bowl and Neighbors, if you're not watching that. Otherwise, I'm watching the same old shit. Kill Tony, Next Level Chef is coming to the end soon, and then Shark Tank is just as spectacular as ever. Before we go, though, I wanted to expedite my what you watching so I could ask both of you one question, something that I wish I would have caught 3 hours ago, but I didn't. Likely Billy Donovan to the University of North Carolina as their new head coach. You both had the same reaction. I was a little late getting it to Dave because I had to screenshot it so he could see it. But you both looked at the camera at me and went, I'll start with Dave. What does that mean for the University of North Carolina? And do you think that they kind of had this feeling that they could get this done even, and that's why they fired Hubert Davis?
Yes. Who's Billy? Who does he? Is he coach? Who's he coaching the NBA? The Bulls. Yeah.
Chicago Bulls.
Well, the Bulls aren't going anywhere. Sorry, Pat. I think that the fix was probably in for a while, and you don't. Usually these schools, these big schools, are smart enough not to make major coaching changes unless they have a clear direction as to where they're going to go. And I think they obviously knew where they wanted to go. There was obviously some interest there. Billy Donovan is whatever has happened at the pro level is one thing, but he's obviously a very successful college coach. He was coach for Florida when they won their championships, right? So twice back to back. I think that's a smart hire for North Carolina. It should make the fan base feel a little bit better about the situation. We'll see.
Oh, shit. Who is the third NBA superstar, or not superstar, but third NBA significant player besides Joakim Noah and Al Horford that played on it? Corey Brewer. Those three guys. Yeah, great trio, college trio.
Yeah, I think it was shocking to me because it's long been thought that it, right up there with, the former Butler coach, Brad Stevens.
He ain't leaving Boston. And like
that's the thing.
And then the other day, Jordan was flying in North Carolina, and people were like, oh, he's gonna. I'm like, he's going there to consult. That's all he's doing. He's a fucking NASCAR owner. He's trying to change that.
Yeah,
sport.
Brad Stevens. That's dumb. He's not leaving the Celtics in the middle of a championship run.
Whoa,
Sorry.
I agree with you.
Okay.
This is why I had to bring this subject up.
But anytime like one of these major blue blood level programs have an opening, those are two names from the professional ranks that always come up: Brad Stevens and Billy Donovan.
Yeah.
And whether or not they would come back to college. Brad Stevens isn't even coaching anymore. He's now an executive. Like he is out of the game, and he's won his NBA championships. He's made that jump and worked. Billy Donovan, he had success at OKC. He never won the big one at OKC, but he did all right. He was a breath of fresh air for the Bulls when he first took that job, but it's clear that the Bulls are once again tanking and rebuilding, and it's time to just start all the way over. But what I think this does is I think it actually is one of the best hires that North Carolina can make if the old guard can stay out of Billy Donovan's way and let him run the team, because it is a new era in college basketball. And North Carolina's biggest problem has been they have still been trying to run their program like a blue blood college program and not treating it like a semi-professional to professional league. And Billy Donovan knows a lot more about what it means to be a CEO head coach than Hubert Davis did, or I can't even remember who was before Hubert Davis, but everybody they fired since this NIL era has really kicked off.
Wasn't it Roy Williams, or wasn't that before?
No, Roy Williams retired.
He retired after winning 2 championships for them.
So I think this is a great hire if they let him do what he needs to do. And, we'll have to wait and see. He definitely knows how to run a 5-out offense, which is modern basketball now. It's matchup dependent. I think it'll be a good hire. I'm just surprised because it seemed like he was content to remain in the pro ranks for as long as they'd have him. Which maybe that's it. Maybe there wasn't a place for him. So,
but I think the change in NIL, a lot of these guys who go to the pro ranks and realize it's an easier job with more like immediate stress, but like they don't have to be on 24/3. They don't have to be on 365, right? So now when money's involved, and like I said, going into the NCAA tournament, you're not going to see a lot of upsets through the 1 through 4 seeds because they get to spend so much more money than everybody else. Their roster is so much more talented.
When your Cinderella in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 is a 9-seeded Iowa out of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Which is
or 11 Texas or 6 Tennessee. Right. Like, come on.
Right, and Tennessee is getting mollywalloped, by the way, as we drop this down. So much so a fight broke out on the court, so it's gotten ugly over there in Chicago. But good times. Fuck Rick Barnes.
You and Platt.
I can't.
You and Platt have the whole
he's an
one thing in
coach.
common right there.
Overrated coach. I've trusted him too many years. Anyway, very, very interesting hire. Huge hire for North Carolina, and will probably put them right back into the conversation at the top of the ACC. So,
not official, but like pretty
damn close.
Pretty damn close from what I've seen and showed you guys. So
yeah. So kudos to North Carolina for dominating the news cycle tonight in the wake of the Final Four being announced.
Oh yeah, Duke, check this out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like
big time.
Shit on Duke's moment if they win, and if they don't, Dan Hurley's moment. So either way, UNC wins. All right, guys, we need to wrap this show up. Before we go, though, tell everybody where they can find you on the socials and or the interwebs. We will start this week with PC Tunney.
Little breaking news here. Follow a little news show that will be the kind of continuance of Pod is War. Follow Nefarious Pod, coming to a very popular radio network near you. In addition, to help complement the Four Corners podcast, I don't know that it's going to be weekly, but at the very least bi-weekly. Tunney and Cash is coming back, and we'll be checking that out. But follow me at PC Tunney. Big things are happening April 13th.
Did you hear that, Dave? We apparently, because we suck.
To compliment. I specifically worded it to not piss you off, and here you are, chair shot filling it up.
Can I just say, that scene in Scrooged where Bill Murray sits down with the head of the network and they're like, we're just going to bring this guy in to help you along, Frank. We know things. That's I see what's happening. Dave, tell everybody where they.
Are you guys going to talk NBA? Okay.
No, not in a million.
Probably
years.
not.
Fuck that.
Not much.
Compliment.
I'm just saying it sounds like Ray's really going to earn his vacation time because he's going to be very busy.
He's quitting. He hasn't told us he's quitting the podcast until next February.
That's fine. That's fine.
We'll see him next February. See you next February, Ray. We miss you.
I'll just keep dragging him down the UFO. I'll drag him down the UFO rabbit hole a little bit more. But you can follow me on the website attitudeofregression.com and the YouTube channel, Attitude of Aggression's YouTube channel, and that's it.
Go to Dave's website, attitudeofregression.com. It's a great website. He's got all the shit going on there. And if you're into the UFOlogy, please look at these rundowns that Dave is doing. They're spectacular. I can't, praise you enough for those. They're awesome.
Thank you, sir.
So now you're the rundown guy.
I steal trailers and rundowns.
Good
Trust
God.
me, Pat. You don't want to do these rundowns. They're not. You don't want these.
Sometimes I have so much fun on this show.
Patrick, Dave has to hold my hand so much. Okay, so just relax, all right?
A true villain never relaxes. Anyway, you can follow Ray Cash on the Twitter since he's verified now on the X at It's Ray Cash. That's It's REY as in Mysterio, CASH as in money.
Is it wrong that I take such joy that Ray had to get verified? I mean, I feel kind of warm inside.
Here's the other thing you need to do, and this is like a big serious announcement. At Chairshot Media is also verified, and you'll likely be able to listen to and watch and follow along with a lot of the stuff we're doing here in the near future. So I'm done talking.
So there you go. All right, and then you can follow me on most of your social media platforms at Wrestling Realist. That is at WRESTLNGRIRE. Oh my God. At WRESTLNGREALIST. Jesus Christ. I was too busy giving everybody else a hard time that I forgot how to spell my own damn name. Anyway, you can catch me every Monday, Tuesday, and most Wednesdays on the Chairshot Radio Network. Mondays talking nerdy stuff with these guys. Tuesdays talking sports on the Four Corners podcast until Cash and Tunney replaces. And talking wrestling with Greg DeMarco on the Greg DeMarco Show on Wednesdays when we feel like it. I am so good at my villain job.
Rivalry began.
It comes so easily.
That's fine. We'll have a rivalry then. We won't compliment
That's what
each
I
other.
do.
We'll rivalry each other.
When the Wizards are good next year, then we'll talk.
Okay. So we'll talk in like never.
Yeah.
I figure I'm not talking about the Bulls until I'm dead. It'll be from the grave in a seance before they're good again. So we got that. But that's going to do it for this week's edition of Bandwagon Nerds, everyone. Make sure you get yourself out of the basement. Get some sun. Check out Daredevil, Invincible. Follow us and get ready for April 13th. We got some big things coming. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This has been Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the